Welcome to part 5 of the tutorial series on how to create maps for UT2004. Today we'll be discussing how to create zones in your map. Zoning is used as a way and is used for other things, but it's mainly used to optimize your map. As you currently been doing from the first tutorial on, I suggested you add a zone info to every room that you have. So zone info here. This is another room. And now we're going to discuss why you should do this. So by default, everything gets loaded by default. So let's play the map that I just created. And you will see if I go into wireframe mode, which you can do by hitting the tilde key to bring up the console, type R mode 1, which stands for rendering mode 1. You will get into wireframe mode and you will see everything that it was in the editor is also visible during gameplay. So these barrels are loaded, these static meshes, this stair is loaded, this room above is loaded, and even if I'm standing behind the wall, which is this basically, I can still see that the rest is being rendered because the engine doesn't know, hey, the player is behind a wall, so I shouldn't render this. Modern engines, I believe, do have automatic culling, it's called, so it culls the detail, but because these agent engines, you don't get that luxury, so you need to manually divide your maps or map into room or use other optimization techniques. So let's exit out the game again, and I will just show you guys how to divide up your maps. So as you've seen, everything is basically loaded at the same time. It's one big zone. And the way to check that is if you go to the zone/portal mode, which is right here next to the dynamic light mode, you will see everything is blue. So every zone gets its own color. But yeah, as you can see, it's all the same color, so it would suggest it's all the same zone. And you're correct, because it is. As you've seen in game as well, everything gets rendered. So to create to define a zone, or to basically define a zone, you will need something called a zone portal. And to make those, you need a brush, and ideally, which I suggest you do, is use a sheet brush. Click on it, and then a sheet brush will appear. And what you want to do is you want to place it in an area that's between one room and the other. So in this case, I have a hallway. Most of the time, it's gonna be a hallway, but you can also do like a very big room and split that up in multiple sections. So let's split up this room by adding a zone portal. Let's make it match to the frame. And the thing you want to do is place the sheet in between the area that you want to divide. So we want to divide this room and this room basically, and this room as well in the future. So what we'll do now is we have the brush in place. We haven't placed anything yet. We right click on the add special brush. Left click, sorry. You can also right click maybe. No, you can't. Left click. And then there's a prefab option. And we want to use the zone portal option. And some flags will be automatically enabled. And you press OK. And you get the basic texture. And yeah, ideally you want a texture that says something like zone portal or something else. But I'm going to use this green texture. Apply it to it. And there you go. It indicates to me at least that that's the zone portal. And like I said before, I suggest you do something similar. There's no real standard for it. People use whatever they want. Sometimes you see smiley, sometimes you see a dog, sometimes you see nothing. So yeah, be creative with it. But it needs to be something that tells you, hey, this is a zone portal. Be careful. So okay, with the zone portal in place, then you want to save the map, obviously, because we're changing some stuff. And now you want to recompile the whole map. PC only building geometry does the same thing, but now again, just build everything because we're in a small map. And if you go into the zone view again, you will see this zone is still the same because we have not placed anything here. But this one is now green because this is actually a different zone now. As you can see, it splits off right where the zone portal is, right in the middle. And if we go in game now, let it load for a bit, and go back into wireframe mode, you will see the stairs are not being rendered anymore. Because the way you should look at this is this sheet, which is right here, I think you can actually see it somewhat, is sort of a portal. Like it tells the engine, like if you look into this area, like as you can see, if I look around, then certain things start to appear. So everything to the left is now discarded because I can't see it. And if I go to the right, everything on the right is discarded, and everything on the left is visible because I can see from this angle into that area. But I can't see all the way up there yet. But we'll optimize that further because this is still way too much being rendered. Because why do we need to see like half of the stairs if we can't even see the stairs like at all, basically? So we will change that. But this is like the basic concept of zoning, basically. So you divide your maps into zones, and that way you will optimize your map by telling the engine, hey, if I'm in this zone, and if I look through here, that zone up there should not be rendered. Or anything around this corner, which it currently is, because we still have a steep enough angle to look into it. But we'll fix that later on. You can also go into the zone view by typing R mode 2. You get the same view that we just got in the editor. So we're in the green area now, we're in the blue one now. So that's that. So let's quit out again. So let's now tackle the next problem. As I said before, splitting it halfway like this works, but if you stand here, then you will, for some reason, it's the angle is still enough for these things to get rendered. So you should look at the way your view is calculated. It's like a frustum, so it's like a big, yeah, not oval shape, but like a frustum shape. So like this, this, and this. Maybe if I can paint it, it's probably better. So new. So let's say, can I get something smaller? No. So this is the player basically. Oh wait, that's pretty small. Damn. I haven't used a new paint in ages. Yeah, that looks so bad. There you go. So let's say uh, this is the player. There you go. And this is basically the view. This is the frustum that you basically have in front of you. So anything to the side here, anything to the side here is not getting rendered because it's not visible. And what the zone portal does is basically tells the engine, hey, if I am in the frustum, so if I am in this view, basically this is like the portal, and the next zone is visible, then I will show everything that's behind me basically as much as possible. But if you put it like halfway, as we just did now, that means it's anything from here onwards is visible. And same for here. While it works, it's not great. Plus, zoning can also be used for other stuff. So I suggest what you do instead is move the zone portal back. So it's right at the beginning of the hallway. Build the geometry again. And then also we can also duplicate it. It's easier. One at the end of the hallway. So this one will become in its own zone. And you can do stuff with this as well. But now we have split it up into 3 zones instead of 2. So because what you get now is when uh, this portal is not visible to the other one, which is this one over here, which is just updates the editor, please. There we go. So if this portal is not visible, then everything will not be loaded at all, and we will see that soon. But even if I do this, then this one would not be rendered as well because it's not in its line of sight. So if we go back and play the map again, you will see that a lot less is loaded now, even when we peek into the room to the left of us. So as you will see, like the barrels to the side are no longer loaded when we stand here, basically. Because the cutoff point is right here. Like they will load right in as we enter. As you see, like before, they would render here already because technically, like from here, that would be visible. But now the line or the portal is right at the end, so it can be more aggressively cull stuff that's right around the corner, basically. So as you see, the more we start to move, it's really aggressive, and to be honest, I don't know how fast you are when you think you are, but you're not gonna spot that basically. So, and like I said, you can do it in the middle, but yeah, like you will lose a bit of optimization that way. So if your hallway is big enough, then just divide it up into a zone itself, and you will see also like the stairs are still they're basically gone now. So if I stand here, they're basically gone. But this this room is still part of that room. So what we're going to do now is split this up as well into this room. This is going to be a zone, and this is going to be a zone. So let's do that. So let's copy our zone portal over, move it to the entrance of the stairway and to the end of the stairway. So like so. Move it up a little bit, close, and then rebuild again. And now you will see we have 5 different zones now. Great. So let's compile, let's play. You will notice a lot less will get rendered because we have more zones to work with now. So as you can see, the above part is not even rendered at all. I think it was rendered sort of last time, but you basically have a lot more control over it now because before this room, this one was the same as that one and this one. So when you stood in this room, everything in that room plus the stairs, no matter where you were, so even if you were doing this, would still be visible. And now it's not because this is his own zone. Like, and if you go to that way, yeah, you can't see into it anymore. And if you go into this zone, nothing is visible anymore. So if you look at, like, you can see at the bottom right, just above my health counter, that even the slightest amount of change, like you can barely see anything in the bottom. You can barely see the orange, but it will get rendered because the engine thinks, oh, I need to render that now. But then again, it's a lot more aggressive at what it shows. Before it would show the whole staircase, but now it's only showing the geometry that's needed. One thing to keep in mind as well, this room and these stairs are called BSP / geometry, and as you can see, the engine can cut them up however it wants. It's pretty dynamic, so it doesn't have to all or nothing. But with BSP / geometry, it can do like halfway or like 3/4 of the way or everything. But a static mesh, which are these things, these blue ones, it's on or off, as you can see. So it's not like I can only see the outer edge of the barrel, render only the outer edge. No, I render the entire barrel. So that's something to keep in mind and to check for if your map, if you use other optimization techniques, which we will discuss in a later video, that they don't get pop into view like aggressively. Because, like I said, a static mesh is there or not. It's an on or off switch. While geometry / BSP can be cut up as much as the engine wants, because as you can see, it can do half of it or 3/4 of it, whatever it wants. So it's a lot more flexible to render and to optimize with. So let's exit out again. So yeah, that's one of the main purposes of zoning. Um, you can also do some other stuff with zoning, which I will show you right now. So we have this light, which we're gonna remove, and now it's pitch black. But apart from this, because there's some light bleed, as you can see, lighting doesn't care about the zones, which is good. Otherwise, it would not be. It would be pretty pitch black, and it would just look weird that it just stops all of a sudden. Zones have some properties. Zone visibility is not something you will need right now. Maybe in the future we will cover this topic. Zone sound is used for like zone effects, like sound effects. I will cover this shortly, but it will require either the old Unreal patch, which is being worked on for this game. That includes a new OpenAL driver, which allows EAX support. EAX was something from the 90s to like early 2000s, which was found on like some sound cards, which enabled certain effects like echoes and stuff like that, which I will cover later on. But yeah, you will need to enable it in game, and you will need the zone set up for it, but it's not really that widely used. Zone light is something you can, as the name implies, add some light, but as you can see, it's just bland. There's no shadows, nothing. So you can only, like, sometimes I use it, but only in very small portions. So usually I leave it off at 0. If I need some extra ambient light, I just add like 2 or 3 or something. But it's not really that's good to use, I would say. There's also a nice trick you can use, which is fog. You can set fog start, fog end. So we're gonna set the fog end to like pretty low. The minimum fog end should be the same, I would suggest, because what the minimum means is you have the slider in game, so the fog slider. So if you set the minimal to 600, then you can allow players to um, set that to 600. But it's not really fair because people on slow PCs, even back then, would not see as much as players with high-end PCs. So you can set individual values. So if you set the slider all the way to its lowest, then it will use the minimum value. And if you set to the highest, it will just use the end value. And the fog starts should be like 300 or something. It's not like a big deal. We're gonna poke around and we're gonna make it like a really bad color, because why the hell not? We're gonna make it orange because I'm Dutch. Why the hell not? So as you can see, no fog. Correct, because we need to enable the fog, which is done by going to zone info and then set distant fog to true. But you also see that I'm looking into the void. Correct. Fog is the oldest trick in the book for optimizing maps. So anything that's outside of the fog, as you can see, is not being rendered. So the barrels we have are gone, because there's just a hard cutoff point. So we're gonna increase the fog a little bit more, so 1000. So it actually doesn't cut off the whole map basically. And if you would look into this, you will get a hall of mirror effects, it's called. It's something similar to this, because the engine doesn't, there is nothing beyond this space. There is nothing here, like there's just emptiness. So it will just create some really strange effects basically. So let's not do that. So let's set it to like 1000 and save it and then go into game. As you can see, There's fog now, but it's only in this zone. So if we move, it will be gone because we're moving into the next zone now. We're in this zone, as you can see here in the corners, there's fog. But if you move to this zone, nothing, because this zone doesn't have fog. This one doesn't, this one, and this one doesn't either. So to create you can create like a foggy room this way, but if you create like an outside map or like a really foggy map, I suggest you do is set all the same settings that you have for your fog on all zone infos. Otherwise, the transition will just look jarring because you go from one zone to the next, poof, everything is gone, and that doesn't look nice. So if you exit game again, go back. One thing you also might want to do is set a location name. Some game modes, like I believe Capture the Flag and Assault, I think, and maybe Onslaught as well, use it during when you do an in-game command, like I need help or something else, then it will tell in the chat message where you are. So if you say this, like this is the basement, this is the basement hallway, this is the barrel room, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why are these black? Interesting. Okay. Weird. That's really weird. So yeah, you want to use the location name as much as possible. There's also a kill zone, or like kill Z. So when a player gets below this value, it will just kill them. But since we have an indoor map, it's not gonna be as much of use. And I'm a bit confused why these are not rendered at all. They're just pitch black. Oh, I probably hit them. Sorry. If we go to view, there you go. They're back. Okay. Yeah, we're also gonna discuss the zone effects. Like I said, it's pretty niche. Uh, I'm pretty sure some of the official maps used it because EEX was a lot more common back then. But what we'll do is we'll go into the barrel room. We'll call it now. Then go into zone info. Just double click or right click on it, and then go to the zone sound, and you can set a effect. So you can set it as an alleyway or an arena or a bathroom or whatever. So what we'll do is do like the hanger effect and then add new, save your map and play. And what you want to do first is this will only work once again when old Unreal patch comes out or you manually find the latest OpenAL from somewhere else, but I suggest you wait for the um, old Unreal patch or you have a working EEX compatible card. You go into settings, go into audio, and then set 3D audio to hardware 3D plus EEX. Then the music starts playing again. Then put everything to high.
Play.
And as you can hear probably, I will go that way. Minigun. This is just normal. But if you go to this zone, there will be an echo now. As you can hear, there's like a long echo. And it lingers on quite well. So you have like an echo effect. But if you move out of the zone, it's just flat, just as it used to be. So it does mess with the audio quite a bit, because sometimes when I'm gonna explode everything. If I throw it right here, and you stand right on top of it, you would think the sound would come from here, but for some reason it comes from the room itself, which is a bit strange. Which makes sense, probably because it's bouncing around technically everywhere. So it's pretty neat because if you like do something here, this zone doesn't have the effect. This one doesn't either. These one, it's only the barrel room. You can still hear it even if it's in the other room. And it sounds a lot different. So if you do it from here, so it modifies the sounds as long as you are in the same zone. But if you leave the zone, then the audio will change back to normal, as you can hear. So it will be flat again. I think if you can even hear it. Let's turn that up maybe. Let's try it again now. So this is basic. That was pretty loud, sorry. Damn, that was really loud. One sec. Like 25 maybe. So yeah. As you can hear, it's just flat now. There's no echo or whatever to it. But if you approach the zone again, and I think it would work a lot better if you set every zone to the same zone effect. Then the effect of the echoes will probably be a lot better. But like I said, play around with it, see what you can make of it. And like I said, it's pretty niche. You need like special hardware, or nowadays with the modified slash updated OpenAL library, you can they can be emulated now, so that also works. But yeah, play around with it. It's pretty cool. I never used it in my own maps because I didn't even know that actually, like from what I know, it never worked. But this new OpenAL module slash driver allows or supports EEX effects now, so it can actually be used again. And once again, the old Unreal team is working on patching the game again, or the game. So, and they will include the latest OpenAL driver with it, which supports this EAX extension. So you'll be able to use it in your map if players enable it. So yeah, that's the basics of zones basically. So you now know why we added zones all the time, what they do, what you can do with them, how to create fog, um, and stuff like that. Like I said, the zone sound is pretty niche. It's pretty cool as well. But yeah, like it just you basically split your whole map into separate rooms, and that tells the engine where, when, what to render when you're in that zone. So if you're in this zone is not visible, I will not render it. This zone is not visible, will not render it. This one is visible, but only partially. If I stand there, if I stand here, then only the straight will be rendered, because why would I render these two? Because if you stand right here, depends how you see it, but there and there are rendered. The rendering or the culling can't be checked in the editor. Like you can move around whatever during play mode, but it doesn't update that because the game engine or the gameplay, whatever. I think both do something with it. You need to actually play the game basically, otherwise it will not show. So so yeah, that's the reason behind zoning. Like I said, you can do a lot of stuff with it, play around with it. Um, don't add too many zones. Like try to make a good balance between the amount of zones and um, yeah, how many actually need. There's no real big performance cost, I believe, but it's just more for manageability that you don't have like 20 million zones that you need to manage. So yeah, um, yeah, that will be do it for today for this tutorial. The next tutorial will be covering a basic mover. A mover is just like a lift or a windmill or something else, but windmills are usually done a different way, so most likely just a mover. And yeah, hope to see you guys then.